Oh, good morning. And we're in day 3 of week 8. Another wander into the hinterlands. So yeah, it's been raining pretty much all night. Just got a break in the weather. It's about 11 a.m. I did not do running this morning because when I looked out this morning it was throwing it down. So yeah, got like a cool brisk breeze and I'm just going to wander some sensible pathing I think today. I don't really want to fall over, much as entertaining as that is. So I did pretty well yesterday, got 3 videos out all told. Had a long chat with Harlequin in Australia, did the exercise vid and a running vid, and I was going to do the short burst 10-minute run as prescribed by the Army fitness test, but as I said, it was throwing it down, and I've got just enough of a break to be able to keep to my minimum of 1 video a day, so there's not going to be as much in the way of film. However, this was not without research. So, whilst talking with Harlequin online, he wants to do a long, 30-mile plus hike, or a marathon a day type hike where he is, as a kind of graduation from the agoge, which doesn't sound impossible. And one of the things I found out today in my research is that the Oldham Way is about 40 miles, which is kind of an interesting, shall we say, concept. Now, I've been looking at the map and it should be sort of possible to do the 40-mile Oldham Way, which goes into the Peak District, which will make for very nice filming if the weather's good. And yeah, which if I did it in, say, August, would allow, basically that would be after the whole army training thing, which will be interesting. And I could probably do it in 2 days. Now, as you know, where I film is about a 3 or 4 minute walk from where I live. These woods, which is part of the reason I live here, because I knew I could get out into some green. These woods are on the Oldham Way, and imagine like an overnight wild camp with a 20-mile plus walk before and after. So if I set off really early in the morning, I would be able to do at least 20 miles in a day. I don't think I want to carry too much stuff, but if you look here, let's see if I can get this zoomed in. Can I give you a good image of that? So that's an Oldham Way marker, 5 minutes from my house, and there's another one. So that would mean that if I went up here, up this footpath and onto this track, I've got a feeling that I would essentially be on the Oldham Way. which is pretty interesting, isn't it? So I live on the route, and normally if I've ever had to do a really long route, I'd I'm pretty sure if I come up here, and it is really muddy. I'm glad I wasn't out here in the rain. The other thing is, if I'm out in the rain, I've got to do all sorts of editing because I need to use a sound recorder, and that ain't good. So yeah. I don't know. It just says footpath here. It just says footpath. And there's another Oldham Way marker here. You check that out. So yeah. So I'm wondering if this whole route up here, which I've wandered up before when I was first doing the Urban Agoge, and if you can see, yeah you can. So I'm going to have a quick wander up here, and this is research. As I keep mentioning, in a couple of weeks, in 2.5 weeks, I've got a week off. And I'm wondering if, and I'll have to have a word with him about this, Dean fancies having a try at doing the Oldham Way in a couple of weeks. He's got a week off, he's got a week off. I don't know, how much gear would you need? You need a cook kit, tarp, let's follow this up. Yeah, sorry, so a cook kit, a tarp. I'm pretty sure if you did find some woodland, some sort of fire lighting kit, I think you go compact and fast rather than uber bushcrafty. But it would mean there would be a gap of a couple of days in recording and a gap of a couple of days in my fitness regimen. But it will be quite an achievement. Now I'm going to walk all the way up here. It's the north, so it's full of hills, obviously. A lightweight pack with a tarp, a light sleeping bag, a hammock, and a pack mat. Just enough food to do a couple of days. But the Oldham Way does seem to indicate that it's up here somewhere. So I'm keeping my eyes open. If I can find the first turning mark, or a side mark while we're here. Oh, this isn't it. Nice ruined house though in the background. Hold on. Camera lens was a bit smudgy. So I'm gonna have a toddle up here for a couple of minutes and see if this goes into the Oldham Way, if there's any kind of directions. You never know. But 40 miles in 2 days should be pretty good if you set off super early. And if you're just going to walk at about 3 miles an hour, which is a reasonable thing, who knows? I don't think okay, so I don't think this is the way. So that's one mystery solved. I've got a sneaky suspicion, and I'll show you where I mean later, that I do know where the Oldham Way goes. Because it goes to Daisy Nook. I know that the Oldham Way goes through Daisy Nook. So that's 2 miles from my house, about 2.5 miles. And through Daisy Nook Park. And I think then you start getting towards the Pennines. Sorry, not the Pennines. Well, you are going towards the Pennines, but you start going towards the Peak District, which would be nice. It means that you get like, you started walking at 7, which would be a good time to start. Get the blood flowing. Make sure you got a groovy walking stick. And yeah. So if Dean and I have a day to chill out and catch up, and then we sort of go, right, if we were to walk from 7 a.m. till about 4 in the afternoon, I think we'd be most of the way through the walk. So take an hour off. So if you start at 7 and you're walking 3 miles an hour, and you stopped at 1 o'clock for lunch, and then you started back again at 2, and you carried on walking till about 6. So 2 till 6 is 4 hours. So that's 12 miles. And 7 a.m. till 1 is 6 hours, which would be 6 times 3, which is 18 and 12. That will give you about 30 miles, theoretically. Theoretical walking. Now I know from experience doing Hadrian's Wall that that's not how things pan out, and I know there are some pretty horrendous climbs. So I bet you could get very definitely most of that. You could get certainly in and out of the Peak District. So yes, interesting. So I'm going to go back and walk back to where I think the other Oldham Way marker is. Let's stop this here. Okay. So back on this same path again. Back there's where we found the last Oldham Way marker, which goes over there. That's if you're going to do it clockwise. I think I rate it anti-clockwise for our purposes, purely because I think doing the Peak District bit on the first day is going to be better. I think we'll have more energy, or I'll have more energy, should Dean not feel like doing it. So I think that ahead of me here, and we'll get to that in a minute, I'm going to have a bit of a side wander. Yeah. So I don't know what you think about that. Do you feel that a long walk with a pack would be some kind of urban agoge graduation? Harlequin was talking about taking a simulated rifle with you. I don't know about that. I do agree that there should be a minimum pack weight, and that there should be some kind of wild camping element, and we'll go into that. But maybe if you did it on your own as a graduation, and obviously you've got to be careful about that. I've got to be careful about recommending that. But what I'll be doing is a kind of graduation walk once I finish the army training thing. And yeah, just doing a wander around. I do like this path. You guys have seen it before. So yeah, is there an end goal in sight? I think somewhere between 40 and 50 miles over 2 days. So it should be theoretically possible to get the larger portion of it done on the first day, wild camp, break camp, and then just start walking the rest of it back. It does go in a big loop, but yeah, there's quite a few long distance paths, you know, sort of, you know, in excess of 40 miles in the UK. I've done the Hadrian's Wall one. I don't fancy doing the Pennine Way particularly, but the fact that I can get on the Oldham Way, complete it, and by the time I complete it I'm essentially home. So there's no travel to and from. There's no logistical issue. It's just you keep walking until you get home. So yeah. So I don't know how you as subscribers feel about that, but that could be an interesting way. There's a certain amount of elevation. You do end up going up and down hills. I mean, that's, you know, rather the point of the Peak District. It's got peaks. But I think as long as you can agree with yourself to walk for at least 6 or 7 hours a day, you know, maybe even time yourself, even if you're not really stressing much. See, look at this. This is proper nice in here. Got a weird little, all sorts of bizarre knolls and drops and stuff like that. That's what I like about wild woodland. So yeah, I think if you sort of said to yourself, I'm going to walk till this afternoon, stop for lunch, have a nice lunch and a cup of coffee, hydrate like mad, and then put your little lightweight pack on, and then see if we can do it. I think that would be interesting, especially if you could get sort of nearer the 25-30 miles done out of the 40 miles. I think that would be good. You know, how far can you get before you get to early evening, you know, with just a gentle amble? Because an amble's about somewhere between 2.5 and 4 miles an hour, depending on how fast you intend to go. But yeah, so we'd probably be coming back through here-ish. So I think if you could get through Daisy Nook, through the end of Daisy Nook Country Park, which is near me, then that will give you, you know, that would be your first 5 miles, at which point you've done about 15% of the whole walk. Keep going, spend the rest of the day getting through the Peak District. That'll be another 10 miles. And then if you could just go, right, let's go on till early evening and just really push ourselves and get over the 20-mile mark, I think that could be really interesting. I'm not entirely sure how you'd measure that, but it is one of the few country walks in the UK where you are largely around civilization for the whole time. So I think as long as you can find somewhere to wild camp during that, then you're probably good. So we're actually on the Oldham Way right now, a little bit of it. So yeah. So, yeah. So that's all I've got to talk about today. I'm kind of obsessed by the idea, and in 2 weeks there's a theoretical chance that I could give it a shot. Now if we strip out everything that we don't need out of our packs, you know, that's one of the good things about having this camera rig. By the time Dean's here I should have the Steadicam, the gimbal, which is going to be nice because that will definitely give a better chance of getting some nice panoramic shots because we'll be in the Peak District. So you would possibly, yeah, I mean it'd be pretty definite that in a couple of weeks time I would have to take 2 complete days off exercising and move the running and the gym around a bit, because I think definitely I'd want a rest day after doing 40 miles. But yeah, if you think that would be a good, you know, mission in the middle of the Urban Agoge thing, do leave a comment down below. Zoo Echoes was definitely talking about something along those lines. Yeah. And the other thing that is looking like a possibility, maybe not this year, well, I don't see why not this year, but an attempt, there is a charity out there that talks about that does a live off refugee rations for a week. I think that would be interesting. Definitely think that would be up for it. But a 2-day mission in the English countryside, a couple of people. I'll have to see if Dean's up for it. I mean, it's only, I did sort of know I was near the Oldham Way. See, that's a nice little loop. I think if you're coming back, you'd be coming back along here and over this very familiar bridge now. And we'll go up to where I think it starts. Because I'm pretty sure you could just walk to, through and onward from Daisy Nook in the right sort of general direction. But it would have to be up this bit. So as we would be coming back this way, back out through that little bit with the markers on. This would be our very last leg before we came and collapsed. But if we could get 25 miles done in the first day, that would be interesting. And I don't think it would be undoable. There is a place just on the, sort of like almost just beyond the halfway point, with a little tiny stand of trees where you could theoretically put up some shelter. But But I think if we aim to walk 25 miles in the first day, leaving us just 15 for the second, then you know, knowing that you've only got to walk till about lunchtime on day 2, but you've had like a really good run on day 1. Because 25 miles is about 8 hours of walking. I mean, it's work, probably nearer 10. So if you aim to finish at about 6 o'clock and then start looking around for somewhere to set up camp. But it's close enough that if disaster struck, essentially you could get a cab home. I don't think there's a single point that's more than about 15 miles away from my house. So, this will be fun. The very last leg is this steep 1 in 3 climb, but if we aim to make it so that we'd be coming back by lunchtime on the following day, and we'll have got some fabulous footage. So, I think if you'll indulge me for a minute or two, I'm breathing far less heavily on this climb. Let's have a look. So, I can just give you a thing here. There's the Oldham Way. So, this is where our 2-day adventure would start. I mean, if we're both carrying very lightweight packs, essentially be walking around here. I tell you what, if this footage comes out half as nicely as I think it will from the viewfinder, it'll be very nice. So if any of you have seen the short film Golf November Tango on Rangers Tube, like 7 minutes long, it's kind of an action film, kind of a post-apocalyptic film, but if you remember, down there is where the tunnel that the main character runs into, and this is the little route that I run down. And this, I really like this path because it's very long and very sort of like windy, but you get this good sort of time-lapse thing. The final shot is me walking up and over this little rise. I'm going to have to go for that run whether I want to or not tomorrow. So yes, and if you recall the way I came back on the video yesterday, I think that's the Oldham Way. I think the whole point is you follow this, and I think there's another marker. Yeah, so this will be the first bit. Yeah. So, Yep. Yeah, so this will be the very first little leg of walking the Oldham Way. This will go out to where I run, along that canal bit, over the little motorway bridge, and onto Daisy Nook Country Park, through Daisy Nook Country Park. I mean, I would say it might even be worth schlepping out to Daisy Nook with packs, having a cup of coffee at the little cafe there, or if it's a nice day, maybe an ice cream. But that depends on how early we set off. I think we could get out to Daisy Nook in under an hour, and then through Daisy Nook, and that would be around the first 4 or 5 miles. So the cafe might be open. So yeah, so once you add in that, if you then you just sort of head directly to the Peak District at that point. Another 5 miles and you're in the Peak District. About 5 or 6 miles through the Peak District, by which time you'll have done about 15 miles, schlepping through there. Get up to because it's in a big circle, get up to the sort of top of the circle, I'm considering, because Droylsden, where I live, is at the bottom of the circle of the route. So if we get all the way to the top, and then start looking for somewhere to wild camp over the next couple of hours, then maybe we could even press on and see how far we can get into it before we hit, you know, one of the few places where we can wild camp. If we then make sure that we're up and awake first thing in the morning to move on, we will be home by lunchtime on the second day. So yeah, or maybe not, maybe it would be a longer day, but it's all about pushing yourself. And I did Hadrian's Wall 2 or 3 years ago, and that was good. But yeah, so it comes through Failsworth and back along the River Medlock, which is the river you see me walking by. So yeah, so it follows about 5 or 6 miles of the River Medlock at the bottom of the circle. But yeah, so that's definitely the way. That would be my house over the railway bridge, and then along there and into parts unknown. I've only been to the Peak District once, but it could be very good. So with my musings on that, let me know what you think in the comments if you're watching this. Do you think it would be a good idea? There's a good chance Dean will be watching this video before too long. So Dean, if you're watching it, what do you think? 40-mile schlep? Fancy it? But yeah, if we video it all the way along, you might need to wait a couple of days for a video, or I might get one uploaded first thing in the morning, make an extra video so you've got something to watch on the first day, and then see if I can get a rough edit from all the footage. And I'd need to clear some card space and be very, very circumspect as to what I filmed. But yeah, hopefully we'll have the gimbal. That sounds like a good thing to do in a couple of weeks. Let me know what you think in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching. Do take care.